chillTV's News of the Week with University of the Fraser Valley Political Science Professor Scott Fast. Sir, thank you for joining us. What a week. The ink is barely dried on the writ that has been dropped. We have a provincial election. I got to ask you, is this the right time or the wrong time, or would there ever be a good time between now and next fall to call a provincial election?
Well, for the NDP, it's a very good time. So if we talk about this politically, the Premier's rating is really outstanding, arguably the highest in the country, depending on the polls. He is running ahead of his party, to be sure. But the NDP still seems to be holding about 49% say if the election was called today, they would vote NDP. It's only about 30 for the Liberals, depending on the polls, sometimes a little better. Greens hold steady at 14. The very preliminary, very early on projections of seats look very favorable for the NDP. So in the political sense of parties, a good time to call an election is when you think people are likely to be voting for you. It's an excellent choice. It's a fair enough argument that the government makes, that they anticipate that the COVID situation is going to carry on, and that they want a new government to be in a position to really face what may be the most difficult, not only with the disease, but the politics of the virus. Yeah. To say nothing of the virus itself, this is going to be a long haul. So in that sense, a party could certainly make the element. People think BC has done well, at least in relation to other jurisdictions in dealing with COVIDs. And that certainly generates a lot of the positive response in the polls. It's also fair to say that, hey, the Greens have a new leader who hasn't had much time to establish themselves. The New Democrats haven't had any significant scandals in office. The Liberal leader does not have a very high profile. So it's a really good time to call an election again in terms of politics. And there certainly is an argument can be made that it's a very reasonable time to call an election.
You brought up a very good point. There was no scandals, but the NDP are going to lose Judy Darcy. Carol James has her health issues. Is that going to be an issue for the NDP, or do you think this will be a majority government when all is said and done?
Well, one, it's early, and two, I haven't done any more than look at what a range of others have projected who do this kind of thing. So I don't have a personal writing by writing a read on this. Surrey is going to be very crucial again. But time may unfold here. Various things may come up or issues may be raised. But I would think that probably the New Democrats are in the best position to be reelected that they've really ever been in the past.
The Green Party, are they still relevant? Andrew Weaver is gone. Could they even hold the balance of power, or has their time come and gone?
Oh, I certainly hope that the Green Party time has not come and gone. I think the Green Party is going to be in trouble if they end up being the party that brings down the NDP and puts in the Liberals. And I think Andrew Weaver recognized that, and that the NDP, even if it didn't go as far and as fast as the Greens might have wanted, agreed with respect to the environment. And certainly it was a better choice with respect to the environment than the Liberal alternative.
We touched base about Andrew Wilkinson. Is he ready for this? Is he up to this? This is going to be his first kick at the can.
Well, the party hasn't had much of a profile. I get CTV clippings on my computer in the morning, and if they're not telling me about the greatness of the Liberal leader and his high profile, I'm sure I'm not going to hear about it. So in that sense, it's unless the governments in power have done a really terrible job with COVID, it's a difficult time for any opposition party.
This will be the first of many times we will speak on not only British Columbia politics, but others. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the late Supreme Court Justice in the States, Ruth Ginsburg. Obviously, people who follow American politics know that she casts a big shadow. She did have an influence on Canada. Your views on that? Is that influence, especially with women's rights, is that a fair and just statement to make, or am I totally off base?
I don't think you're totally off base. For good and evil, or at least good and bad, Canadians follow American politics, often more in the trends there, often more closely than they do Canadian politics. And she certainly was a leader, not only in how she voted and what she stood for, but how she could convince others on the court to join her over the years. And certainly as rights become established and become kind of legal precedents in other countries, they influence the policies of similar countries such as Canada.
Professor, this will be the first of many conversations we will have. Again, I know you have a very busy schedule. Thank you for joining us. We will talk again very soon. That is political science professor Scott Fast of UFE. And you're watching Chill TV's News of the Week.